Hello everybody, it's actually the 30th of March today, but by the magic of video, this is one of those timey-wimey videos, by the magic of video it's going to be probably the middle of July by the time I upload this, and as you can see I'm working on this Hornbeam Raft and I'm going to repot it today. One of my aims is to try and get it out of this belly pot and hopefully raise it up somewhat to expose more of the trunk. Okay, so got the tree into the tray, which will hopefully contain most of the mess, and I'm going to try just working around the edge of the pot with the root hook, just trying to carve it essentially out of the pot, because I know it's going to be difficult to get out. I think I'm going to fight it every inch of the way. I can feel that there's a lot of roots spread out into that curve of the belly, and I will shut up and speed this up from this point so that you don't have to watch me tediously trying to wrestle it out of the pot too much. So by using the root hook as a lever, I managed to cut away enough root and squeeze it out. Ouch, it pops finally. A lot of sweat on that one, but a lot of root. So now we can start to work these roots so we can get it back into the pot. So I'm going to use my trusty nylon brush, which is like a large toothbrush, I suppose, to try and expose as much of this central trunk and the branches coming off it as possible. I'm going to try and raise it up somewhat. So I'm just scraping away the upper layers of the soil and exposing more and more of the branches and the branches that have become trunks and the original trunk as I possibly can. You see this branch comes down into the ground here. Um, so I don't want it to come right out, but I do want to be able to show that the branch comes out of the trunk into the ground at this point and back up again. So if I turn it around a little, you can see where the original root ball was cut off from the base of the trunk when it was an upright tree. You can see where the branches have gone down into the soil and re-emerged. We have some interesting rooting coming off of those, which I want to try and preserve. And if I turn it again, hopefully you can see that I've exposed a lot more of that trunk. So it now looks much more like a tree that has fallen and laid on the surface, long enough for it to root into the soil and for the exposed root ball to be eroded away by wind and weather. That's my overall vision for this tree. Just carve a little bit more away and then we'll tackle the root ball. So although I moaned a bit about this belly pot and the difficulty getting it out, I've cleaned it up and it really does suit this tree, so I'm going to go with it again. And having decided that, I'm going to have to start working on this root ball so that I can get it back into the pot with some fresh soil around it. Okay, quick check for fit, make sure I've removed enough root, get it back into the pot comfortably. That seems absolutely fine. Okay, so I've filled the pot. I'll give it a test fit, and remembering I've filled it a little bit full perhaps, but I do want to get this tree raised up into the pot. That should be about right. Add me in a little bit more, just at the front here, and then I'm going to add some controlled release fertilizer to feed the tree down the line. Okay, let's try for another fit. That's better. That's looking much better. A bit of a tweak just to make sure it's looking good all round, and that, yeah, definitely liking the look of that with the tree more exposed. Just make sure it's pushed and wiggled right down into the soil so there's no air pockets underneath. Okay, trying to fill in around the edge and get lots of substrate, compost, soil, call it what you will, around the edge for this tree to root down in again, and get those roots right out into the sides of that belly pot and give me something to wrestle with in a couple of years' time when I come to repotting this tree again. Here we go, by the wonderful power of video. Here it is, fully potted up in the flesh. I've reattached a little piece of wire in here just to bring this tree back into line so it's growing up into the light as it would in nature. Other than that, all the pruning was done previously. I think the tree looks a lot better now it's been raised up a bit more out of the pot. You can see a bit more of the fallen trunk, and yeah, very happy with the way it's turning out at the moment. I might just put a little piece of wire and my wire cutters just to bring this piece again so that it looks like it's growing into the light, into that gap in the canopy there, which, as I say, a tree would normally be heading for the light, so that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay. And then up and out. Perfect. Well, nothing's perfect, but you know what I mean. Just give you a quick 360 degree look at the trunk. So it's the 3rd of July now, and the Hornbeam Raft is growing really well. It's time to give it a haircut, but I've been allowing it to grow out, power some new roots to power the next top, as it were. This is one of the fronts. It's a little bit congested inside, and that is the second front. I think this is my favourite front because you can see the sinuous trunks emanating from the central raft portion, but it sits on a bench where I can look at it from both sides, and yeah, I shall have to do something to try and improve that other side, but for now we're just going to chop back all this long growth and bring it back into bounds, as it were. There we go. Just a question of keeping it clipped at the moment, and gradually refining the branching as we go each year. I'll take off that chunk with a more structural prune in winter, but I guess you can say that trees are never finished, being living, growing things, until they're dead, and then they're truly finished. But this is now beginning to be the tree I imagined it being all those years ago when I first laid it down on the surface of a plastic training pot. You can see where the roots were originally and where they have been cut off. Let's zoom in on that. So yeah, there was the original root ball was attached here, and the tree has grown up really nicely, I feel, and since this repot we have so much more of the original trunk on show on the surface of the soil. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Thank you so much for watching. Please do take care of yourselves. Stay safe, everybody.